All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at solving area and perimeter. And the first thing we're going to look at is perimeter for here. We're going to look at a definition here. Exactly what is perimeter? What are we dealing with when we're talking about perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around the outside. I know those are kind of both like the same thing, like around or the outside of a shape. Move that over a little bit. All right. So perimeter, again, distance around. So we're talking about how far does it take to go around. So if you hear somebody say like, what's the perimeter of this? That means they're asking like, what's the distance all the way around? A big thing you'll hear with perimeter, like fencing. Like I'm right now trying to get a fence around my backyard because I got a new puppy. So people have been asking me, well, what's the perimeter? How long do you want your fence? Like, so those are things you're going to do. Those are things you're going to use in the real world. You'll hear like, what's the perimeter around your house? Perimeter around a field. Those are different things you'll do. So to find perimeter, again, it's the distance around the outside. So we want to figure out how far it's going to take for us to start here, walk all the way around, boom, all the way, not necessarily how long, but what's the distance we're going to cover. Now, if we look here, we're going with this rectangle. Well, how many sides are on a rectangle? Well, there are 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I only have 2 measurements given to me. Well, we take knowledge that we know about a rectangle, and we know, even though two sides are given, we actually have all 4. Because this side right here, from here to here, is the same as this side from here to here. So this is 7 feet. And this side from here to here is the same as this side from here to here. So this one is 5 feet. So now we have all 4 sides. We are going to be able to go and figure out how far it is to go all the way around there. So when we do this, we start with P because we're finding perimeter. P stands for perimeter equals. Now, what are we adding up? I always like to start at one side and then work our way around till we get to the end. So let's start here. Let's start with this side. Okay, so we're taking 7. And then we're going to go to the next side. Plus, because we're going to add 5. So that's this side. Now we go to the next side. Plus 7. And then we got this side right here. Plus 5. We talked about rectangles have 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. We should make sure we have 4 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, counting your sides is going to come in handy, especially when we get to irregular shapes. Now we just do some math. Our brains can only calculate 2 numbers at a time. So 7 plus 5 is 12. Plus, we can do 7 plus 5 again, 12. Again, I did 2 numbers, boom. So then we get an answer of 12 plus 12, which is 24. Well, because we have a unit of measurement, we need to include that. So it's 24 feet. And well, what is 24 feet? The perimeter is 24 feet. And then I identify my answer by boxing it in, or you can circle your answer. That's something you need to make sure you do. You want to be like, boom, here's my work. This is what I got. I want to show everybody my awesomeness that I did. Another type of shape we could see is a triangle. Right? Again, we're going around the outside. We want to know how far it is to get all the way around the outside and back to the beginning. Well, there are 3 sides. We're given 3 measurements, so we don't need to find any. So we can just start by finding our perimeter. Perimeter equals, let's start with 7. Go around, plus 4. Go around, plus 6. I have 3 sides. I have 3 numbers I'm adding up. We're doing good. Remember, our brains calculate 2 numbers at a time. 7 plus 4 is 11. We haven't used plus 6, so that's why we're rewriting plus 6. 11 plus 6 is 17. So P equals 17. Well, we're finding perimeter. Unit of measurement is feet. So it's 17 feet. We have a final answer. Boom. I want to make sure I show everybody my awesome work and that I came to this answer right here. You box it in. All right, so that's perimeter. The other thing we're going to talk about is area. All right. Area is the total amount of space a shape slash object takes up. So area is basically, oh, let me move this over so that we can see it. All right, right there we go. Area is just, if you set an object down on the ground, how much space is that taking up that you can't go through? A good example of this, or a way to really visualize it, is if you take an object and say you set it out in your yard for a day or two, and then you remove the object, you'll see the grass is starting to be like pushed down, maybe starting to die. That is the amount of area it takes up. Okay. So that's why it's the total space. So that's a good visual. Area is the inside. How much space does this thing take up? So here we have a square as our first example for area. I'm going to slide this up a little bit here. We have a square, total area. Okay. A square is very similar to a rectangle. So to find the area of a square or rectangle, we use base times height. You may also see area equals length. I use a cursive L because this regular L looks like a 1. So area equals length times width. You'll see both of these. You can see base times height, length times width. So with area, we multiply. So if we take area equals base times height, or length times width, we have our two measurements, a length, a width, or a length and a width. It doesn't matter which one, or a base and a height, or a base and a height. So we know we have 4 times 4. So then area equals, well, 4 times 4, 16. Remember, we're dealing with a unit of measurement. Well, area is actually going to be feet squared. You got to make sure I have that little squared. And the reason why is this is really 4 feet times 4 feet. So you took the 4 times 4, which gave you 16. Well, then we have feet times feet, which like 2 times 2 can be rewritten as 2 squared. So feet times feet can be written as feet squared. So area is whatever unit measurement squared. Another way to look at it, so it's 16 feet squared. I use this example for this reason. Total area is the amount of space. Well, if we look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 little squares in here. There's 16 feet that are squares, 16 feet squared. Boom, look at that, mind blown, awesome. All right, so remember, area of a rectangle or square, base times height, length times width, same thing. You'll hear me use both of them. All right. The next thing we're gonna look at, triangle. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height, or you can see it as area equals base times height divided by 2. These are the exact same thing, because if you're halving something, you're just cutting it in half, you're dividing it by 2. So I gave you 3 measurements on this triangle because the triangle has 3 sides. Well, but I only have a base and a height. So I got to figure out which one I'm going to use. Well, base, think about base. Base is what it sits on. So this triangle is sitting on the 3 feet. So this would be equal 1/2 times the base, which is 3, times the height. Height is the straight line up, okay? When you go to the doctors and they ask you to measure your height, they don't tell you to lean forward against the wall. They tell you to stand with your back up against the wall and then do that measurement thing, all right? So height is straight from the base all the way to the top, all right? Not leaning, height. So basically we're looking at the 2 straight lines here. So then our height is 4. So here, this gets a little tricky. We can do 1/2 times 3 times 4. Well, I don't want to do half of 3. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I'm going to do 3 times 4 first. 1/2 times 12. Well, half of 12 is 6. Remember, we're dealing with feet squared. So area equals 6 feet squared. Remember, box your answer, circle your answer, be like, yo, look at my awesome answer I got here. All right. And then the last one, again, we have another triangle. Area equals, let's use this one, base times height divided by 2. Well, my base, this is easy, it's 4. So area equals 4 times, well, my height, remember, height, we want standing up. All right, we want it standing straight up. We don't want to be leaning. That's why I gave you this weird measurement in the middle. The height of this triangle from the base to the point is 6 feet. So it's 4 times 6, all over 2. Area equals 4 times 6, which is 24, divided by 2. Area equals 12 feet squared. Okay. So that's area and perimeter. 2 things you definitely need to make sure you know how to calculate.